All right, so I'm going to be talking about the this announcement, which I'm actually shocked actually still happened, but there's probably a reason for it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But by the power of Grayskull, Cowabunga! I swear, if that's not the tagline for this comic, it has lost a point already for me. So yes, it is officially announced that we are getting a He-Man Ninja Turtles crossover called Turtles of Grayskull. Now, Multi, I hear you say. This got announced earlier. There was a toy line. Yes, and this is apparently coinciding with the toy line. Yeah, so IDW and Dark Horse are collabing for this comic. They're doing the toy line. Yeah. Hasbro's doing the toy line, and yeah, I think we kind of knew that the comic crossover was coming at some point, right? Like, I think we all kind of knew that that was going to be the point of the comic, was that we were going to get, we were going to get a full-on crossover comic. Now, what's interesting is the creative team behind it, and I'll talk about why that's fascinating to begin with. Of course, we have on art Freddie Williams II, who, if you're doing a crossover, he's bound to show up. Like, 9 times out of 10, he's going to show up in a crossover regardless. And he's kind of perfect for doing He-Man crossovers. Obviously, he did the Thundercats one, he did the He-Man and Justice one, and of course, he did with Tiny and the Ninja Turtle Batman crossovers, and the first Godzilla Power Rangers crossover. So if you're looking for a crossover guy, Freddie Williams II is, if you're doing a comic, Freddie Williams II's like, I'll do it. And the writer of the comic will be Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley, known best, he had actually written the Injustice He-Man crossover at DC a few years back. So I find that this creative team fascinating. Why? Because it really does feel like, if you guys remember, a couple of years ago, there was supposed to be a He-Man Ninja Turtle crossover that was going to be like the third in this He-Man crossover trilogy, that was set up in the He-Man Thundercats crossover, and then was followed up in the Injustice crossover. But from there, it got canceled. And now it finally makes sense why, because the comic rights were going from DC to Dark Horse, and they've scrapped the idea. So, but I do imagine that, like, a shell, pun intended, of the idea is still viable. Like, I still think that they're having some viability with this idea. Obviously, they wanted to have the creative team back that did Injustice for He-Man versus Injustice. So it makes sense. Also, they'll probably use like some of the ideas they scrapped for it, because this was a scrapped concept before. Now it makes sense as to why that that original TMNT crossover with Ninja Turtles got scrapped. And even like Freddie Williams II even posted like artwork he was doing for the comic. Like, he straight up showed like, yeah, this was supposed to happen, and now it's actually happening. So it's one of those rare instances in comic history. It's one of those very few rare instances where we basically have we essentially have a resurrection of a crossover. Not to say that doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen like a few times. Remember, there was supposed to be an Alien Star Trek TNG crossover from the people behind the Doctor Who Star Trek crossover, the Tipton brothers, and that got canceled, more than likely because of the takeover, excuse me, let me rephrase myself, the takeover of Fox by Disney. So, therein lies that. Yeah, so it's cool that it actually got resurrected, albeit in probably more than likely a new continuity. They'll probably not, this will be a totally new story, not connected to the other two, because that was from DC. But let's talk about it. So what we know is that it's going to be a 4-issue miniseries starting in September, and what it will be about is that the Ninja Turtles have caught wind that Krang and Shredder have allied with Skeletor, and shenanigans ensue. It also coincides with, again, the toy line, because on the cover, you see them with the action figure, in their Eternian form, the Ninja Turtles in their Eternian forms. Am I mad about this? Nah. Everything's promotion for something else in media. That's really what it is. But the fact that we're getting two major 80s franchises again, like since the He-Man Thundercats crossover, yeah, it's really nice to have it actually happen than not happen at all. I don't care if, like, Ninja Turtles have been, and He-Man are all about selling toys. This comic's just gonna be no different. It's also going to be cool to see Shredder and Skeletor finally team up, like the idea of that. I also do think this will be more like, will be his own continuity, but I do have this feeling it's going to have a bit of that 80s cartoon flavor with Krang and Shredder working together. But, you know, we'll see on that. As for, like, how I kind of imagine this going, I'd love to see, like, Raphael team up with Man-at-Arms. Actually, no, Donatello and Man-at-Arms hang out. You know, them do science stuff together. I would love to see Leonardo and, of course, He-Man. I really hope we get one of the turtles using the sword of Grayskull. I hope we get to see that in this comic, is seeing either Leonardo, hopefully Leonardo, but it'd probably be like Mikey or something, lifting the sword and going, you know, by the power of Grayskull and whatnot. Yeah, I'm just excited this is happening. You know, this is going to be really cool. The creative team, I enjoy. Like I said, Freddie Williams II seems to always want to get in on these crossovers. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. So there you go, guys. That's my thoughts on the upcoming TMNT He-Man crossover. You guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this crossover? Are you guys excited or are you guys not? Are you upset that it's not going to, more than likely not going to be have any connection to the other two He-Man crossovers from DC, and or are you just cool with it happening at all, like me? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.